Welcome to the Virtual Memories Show. I'm your host, Gil Roth, and you're listening to a weekly podcast about books and life. Not necessarily in that order. You can subscribe to the Virtual Memories Show on iTunes, or use our RSS feed with your favorite podcatcher. You can find the RSS feed on our websites, vmspod.com or chimeraobscura.com/vm. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud at VMSPod, at Facebook.com/Virtual Memories Show, at virtualmemoriespodcast.tumblr.com, and on YouTube by searching for Virtual Memories Show. And if you like this podcast, please go to the iTunes store, look up the Virtual Memories Show, and leave a rating and review while you're there. You can support the Virtual Memories Show and get access to exclusive content with a recurring monthly donation via Patreon. Just visit patreon.com/VMSPod and set up your level of support. Every week you'll get new material from our patron-only blog, and you'll also get to listen to my quarterly bonus podcast, Beer of a Square Planet, which features extra material from our guests and is only available to supporters of the show. So visit patreon.com/VMSPod or paypal.me/VMSPod and help me continue to produce smart conversation about books, art, comics, and culture every week at the Virtual Memories Show. Okay, I'm back from Frankfurt and London last week. I'm kind of exhausted, I'll be honest. The trade show in Frankfurt went great. I got a bunch of new member companies in my trade association, great conversations with a bunch of my current members, but all total, I was only in Frankfurt for about 50 hours and had to actually miss 2 meetings because my inbound flight was delayed 5 hours Sunday night. All sorts of craziness that led to that, but the upside is I came in, I conquered, I split. And after that, I got out to London so I could see some pals, record some podcasts, which was great. But I've told you guys before about the perils of shifting from one mask to another, and it really took me some time to get out of Pharma Trade Association Gil and into Smarty Pants Podcast Gil. Except I didn't really have time. I got in Wednesday night, and Thursday night I was recording, and then was recording all day long on Friday. On top of that, on that first day that I was there, that Thursday, I realized how much I was missing my wife, my dog, my bed, my home, and I decided to come home a day early, so that sort of meant I had to cram an extra podcast into my itinerary in pretty short order. Still, it all worked out like it always does. And in fact, the one guest I had the least time to prepare for had to cancel because of train delays. So even that worked out. I wound up with 4 new shows for you guys, and there's some great guests. Anyway, I got back Saturday instead of Sunday. I slept most of Sunday, did tons of catch-up work the next day, including invoicing those new member companies. And here we are, at the intersection of work and play, which brings me to this week's guest, George Lois. George's career in advertising started in the 1950s. It's the stuff of legends. We'll get into a lot of the stories in our conversation, as well as in his bio, which is necessarily extensive. He turned 86 this summer. He's got a ton of stories to tell. This is a very long episode of the show because, well, this is what I felt my one shot of sitting down with this guy, and he really has had a career that's just phenomenal. Now, I pitched him to do the show, not because I finally got around to watching Mad Men, although I did, and he hates it, which comes up a little bit in this one. I didn't want to focus on it too much because George has railed against Mad Men in the past. No, the reason I hit him up is because he directed my favorite music video of all time, Joker Man by Bob Dylan. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube or go to MTV Classic, or I forget what the MTV website is. But anyway, just go to YouTube, look up Joker Man, all one word, and just watch for the next 7 minutes or so. See, I was listening to Dylan's Nobel lecture, which you really ought to do instead of reading it, when the idea to pitch George hit me. He wrote back pretty promptly that he was up for it, and here we are. Now, you guys know I'm no starfucker, except in so much as this whole show is basically about me leeching off of creative people. But I admit, I had a few moments during our conversation where I thought, I'm sitting across a table from a guy who hung out with Dylan and Muhammad Ali and Warhol and Jagger and a ton of other American icons. Well, Jagger's not an American icon, but anyway, an icon. But yeah, luckily we bonded as people. He was pretty gregarious, which I think is part of his whole Greek upbringing. And we also bonded as sons, which is going to be kind of weird because I don't normally talk about this stuff. But anyway, George starts out by talking about his dad. And my initial impulse was to prod him toward his advertising career, but my old man had just gone into the hospital the day before I connected with George. This turned out to be for gallstones, and he was in for about a week plus. But I'd spent a few hours with Dad at the ER that Friday, and then I saw him in the hospital on the way home from the podcast with George. And so if that segment to kick this episode off seems kind of indulgent, all I can say is we were both indulging, okay? George needed to talk about his old man. I needed to hear someone talk about their old man. I'm sorry to veer off like this. As I said at the beginning, am kind of exhausted. Here are some caveats, some of which you may find very important. One, there was an air purifier going most of the time, and I had to try to filter that out, so there's a kind of mechanical sound for the first hour or so. There were a couple of calls and visits, so there'll be a few breaks during this one. I kind of jump in a few times. As I mentioned, it's really long. George had a lot to talk about. He's a bit slower than his glory days, but I wasn't going to make him rush or cut off any of his stories. The last caveat's kind of a big one. George dropped some N-bombs in this one. Not in a derogatory way. That is, when they're derogatory, that's the point. That someone else who's racist is using the N-word and that it's wrong. For the most part. In another part, it's because Muhammad Ali used to call him that, and what the hell was I supposed to do? No, George, we're not supposed to use that word. I just let him go. If use of the N-word bothers you, then please don't listen to this episode of the Virtual Memories Show. That's what I'm saying. Here's George's bio from his website, georgelois.com. And I swear this is actually how his bio begins. The legendary George Lois is the most creative, prolific advertising communicator of our time. Running his own ad agencies, he is renowned for dozens of marketing miracles that triggered innovative and populist changes in American and world culture. In his 20s, he was a pioneer of the landmark creative revolution in American advertising. He introduced and popularized the Xerox culture. He created the concept and prototype design for the New York supplement for the Herald Tribune, forerunner of New York Magazine. Made a failing MTV a huge success with his I Want My MTV campaign. Helped create and introduce VH1. Created a new marketing category, gourmet frozen foods, with the name Lean Cuisine. And, by inventing yet another new marketing phenomenon, persuaded America to change their motor oil at thousands of Jiffy Lube stations. He made the totally unknown Tommy Hilfiger immediately famous with just one ad, and saved USA Today from extinction with his breakthrough singing TV campaign. In 1994, almost overnight, he changed the perception of ESPN from a demolition derby sports channel to the #1 sports network with his dynamic in-your-face campaign. Additionally, he created the winning ad campaigns for 4 U.S. senators, Jacob Javits, Warren Magnuson, Minority Leader Hugh Scott, and Bobby Kennedy. His list of breakthrough ad campaigns goes on and on. The only music video he created, Joker Man by Bob Dylan, won the MTV Best Music Video of the Year award in 1983. And in 2008, the Museum of Modern Art installed 38 of his iconic Esquire covers in its permanent collection, celebrated by a year-long exhibit, George Lois, the Esquire Covers at MoMA. He's the author of an autobiography, George Be Careful, as well as The Art of Advertising, What's the Big Idea, Damn Good Advice, Covering the 60s, Celebrity, Ali Rap, and more. And now, the epic Virtual Memories conversation with George Lois. You say you have the heart of an artist and the soul of a salesman.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were going to have to balance those two forces, and how different are they?
I don't know. I grew up drawing all the time. From the time I was 3, 4 years old. I have my Greek lesson books that my mother would make me. And there's drawings all over them. And when it got to the time of Mussolini invading Greece, I mean, I got drawings of Mussolini and Tojo and Hitler, you know. I'd get up in the middle of the night from the time I was 5 or 6 years old, and I'd sleep an hour and a half, and then I'd get up and I'd draw for a couple of hours when everybody was asleep. Then I'd go back for a couple of hours. I really only slept 4 hours maybe every day. I sleep more now since I...
Making up for lost time.
Yeah, now I sleep more now. After I had some cancer stuff, somehow it kind of
caught up.
You know, sleep a little bit. In any case, so I knew growing up somehow I was going to be an artist of some kind. And I studied in public school. I had a great art teacher in public school. I was the luckiest guy in the world because she sent me to the High School of Music and Art. I was going to go to DeWitt Clinton. You know, I mean, it's a good school, it's a good neighborhood school, but
just a standard public school. It's
a thug school, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you go there and I would have played ball there, but I would have, who knows what happens to you, you know?
Yeah.
But she sent me to High School of Music and Art. And it was so wonderful. I mean, the first day when I was in music and art, I knew I wasn't going to be a florist. My father was a florist.
Yeah.
And I worked for him happily from the time I was 70 years old. Every day I'd work at the store, deliver flowers. I deliver flowers all over New York. From the time I was 6, 7 years old, get on the subway, maybe go to South Ferry, take the ferry to Staten Island, and I'm carrying something bigger than me, you know. And so I've been through the city inside and out. Never had any trouble. My father wouldn't worry about me either. Yeah. I'm sure he worried, but gave me the instructions and I was gone.
Trusted you.
I'd give him a kiss before I leave, you know, Greek. Get back, and he may be in the middle of talking to a customer. I'd go with my father, kiss him, stay there, and have to. So anyway, and it's interesting that the time came. Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but the time came where one morning when I had graduated high school, music and art, which I always said was the greatest institution of learning since Alexander sat at the feet of Aristotle. You know, I mean, it was great for me. You take all your courses, you know, that any good high school gave you, and you'd get 2 or 3 art courses, you know, all the time. You know, history of art, drawing, designing, anyway. And one morning. You know, so I graduated from music and art, and it was I never could quite figure it out. I think I graduated like in January, and so from January to September, I was working full time at my father's store. But when he comes in to see me. Day was where we're supposed to go to the flower market on Monday, I think, at 3:30 in the morning. You know, and he comes in, and I'm laying in bed like this, waiting for him. Yeah. And he said, Yoda, I always talk to him in Greek. Yoda, 3:30, we gotta get to the market. Come on, you should be dressed. And I said, Papa, I can't go. I'm starting college today. He said, college? I said, yeah, Pratt Institute. It's an art school. An art school? He said, like, art school, like
Like you're going to go work for the mob or something.
Well, no, I was still fucking around scribbling. Yeah. He never realized it was my passion, you know. Mm-hmm. And how much did you have to pay? I said, yeah, Papa. How much? I think $400 or something. Where'd you get the money? I've had a bank account at the Atlantic Bank. It was a kind of a Greek affiliated bank. I've had a bank account, a savings account, since I was 7.
Putting away the tips?
Yeah, I would say, you could count on like a 10-cent tip back then. Glad to get it, unless you went to hospitals or, And every time I was anywhere near the Atlantic Bank, I forgot what the address now is, I'd go in and I'd put in maybe 80 cents. Or once I think I put in $2. It was like that. He said, really? He said, art school, huh? He said, okay, boy. He called me boy. Okay, boy. Okay. We kissed. And he kind of wobbled off. He realized I'm not going to be a florist. And when I was at work and it was slow, I would draw on the front page of the Daily News, or, I would even do, a 3-dimensional drawing on it. And, I think I remember my teacher in that Miss Engel in public school, said to me one day, George, who taught you perspective? What's perspective?
Yeah.
She said, well, how'd you do that drawing of those houses? I said, it's out my window. Yeah, but tell me exactly how you started it. I said, well, you put a point there and then She said, George, you just invented perspective. She said, Duccio and Giotto invented,
reverse engineered it.
1600 or 1580, I forgot. Mm-hmm. And I knew who Duccio and Giotto were, because I was when I was in public school. So anyway, so again, I'm jumping all over the place. So that day, I felt terrible, but you got to do what you got to do, right. I go to Pratt. The first day was they were taking attendance class of the freshman class. You say the teacher, who was a woman, I think, call out your name, and then you had to say where you were from. And everybody was from all over the place. And when it got to L, Rosemary Lewandowski, and this blonde about 4 or 5 rows ahead of me, sitting in front of me, and I was sitting with some guys from music and art. There was 2 or 3 guys who
all went together.
And she said Syracuse, that upstate shit, And I was a real punk. I grew up in the streets, I grew up in a racist Irish neighborhood, back then. Racist.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just racism against blacks. It was everything.
Right.
Greek, when I would get... When they would get grease, when they call me a grease ball, you drop everything and you just, a punch out, Yeah. You had to learn how to fight, really, to exist. So anyway, Sarah, and when it was over, she got up, and I saw her, and I said to the 2 guys from music, I said, oh, that's mine.
Yeah.
So I watched her walk. She walked this way, and then she turned right to go down to the flight of stairs. I check out the legs. Whoa! Artie followed me. He had a camera. We go down 3 flights of stairs. I don't think she knew I was behind her. And we got down there, and the kids were standing around talking to each other, meeting each other. And I go up to her, and not one word. And I go next to her, and I said, Artie, take a picture. Right? And she's going, and she posed like this.
Stern.
You know, the body language was great, you know, like, and I posed like this, you know what I mean? And that was my woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I decided, I swear to God, I decided right there.
Because I do have, when did you meet your wife on this, you know, do you remember the day? And, wow.
And so, then as I think everybody kind of hung around for an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes, talking to each other. And then we still hadn't talked.
You're just eyeing each other warily?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just hovering around her, you know what I mean? Like Dracula, you know, or something. And then everybody was breaking up, and she started walking, and I surmised that she was going to she was from Syracuse, so she was going to a dorm in a frat house, like a fancy house. And so I started walking with her. She says, what are you doing? I said, I'm walking you to your dorm. She said, you can't do that. And I said, I can do anything. A punk. I can do anything I want. Yeah. It's my town. And then I said, I swear, I said, meet Tarzan, you Jane. I swear it came out of my mouth. And in a nanosecond, she said, me, Rosemary, you arrogant. And that's when I said to her, whoa, I really want this one. You know what I mean? I mean, I knew back then I needed somebody to tame me.
Yeah. We'll push back.
I mean, not push back. I mean, really push back, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. That was the defining day of my life, kind of. Yeah. My family finding out I'm not going to be a florist. I mean, you expected if you were a Greek kid, and your father had a florist to take over a store. And I think all nationalities, if you're a delicatessen, a Jewish kid.
Oh, as a Jew with an Israeli dad, I was supposed to be selling electronics, I guess. But, you know,
sure, you are,
we all have our stereotypes.
You are what your father is. Yeah. You know, you are, it's not you are, you are.
Yeah.
And God, I love my father so much. People say to me that if they're saying nice things about me, if they give me compliments, oh, you're one of them. I said, no. My father came to this country when he was 13 years old. He came from a mountain, the highest, you know, in Napaktos. In 400 years, the Turks never got to the top of never got up there. You know, they weren't there. The Turks, the Ottoman Empire. And the Nazis surely never got up there either, you know what I mean? And he was a shepherd boy, and his father sold some lambs and goats and some wine they made, and got him the money to get to Athens. And his job was to get to America, get a good job, and make money to send to the family and to the and to the 12 or 13 homes.
Yeah, just the not quite cousins, but just
And all my life, my father would write, you know, except for the Second World War, he would write these little envelopes, and they'd put in $10 in each one, or $5 sometimes. And addressing letters to like 30 people.
Yeah, someone's going to get it.
No, I mean, I wow, so wonderful, you know. I mean, talk about my father now.
Did he come around?
I mean, he really. It's amazing how he, very, very courteous, very soft-spoken, but an athlete. You know, the guy was a Greco-Roman wrestler. People would come from other places because they knew who he was, and they would. My father had a mat in the back of the store, and they would wrestle. Greco-Roman wrestling. They'd strip down, and they'd wrestle. And from the time I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I'm watching guys wrestle. It was one. I said, go, Papa, go, Papa. Yeah. Kick his ass. In any case, but one of the defining things in my life, I think, that I realized later was my father hired, I think I was about 12 years old, and I would do my deliveries, and a lot of my deliveries were to the rich people up in Riverdale, Spine Dial. And first I used to take a bus, but then I bought myself a bicycle, and I all the way up to Riverdale. I mean, there's a hill there that takes an hour to get up, to get up there, and I did it in 20 seconds, Yeah. In any case, but my father bought, when I was 12 or 13, he bought a delivery car, a little van, and he hired a young black kid, maybe 20 years old. He was married, had a kid to drive, basically. So I used to ride shotgun with him. He'd drive, and I'd deliver it, and then I'd come in, and I always split my tips with him. My father said, "You don't have to do that." I said, "No, okay, I won't do it anymore." I always split my tips with him, and he was there about a month or so, and I lived in an area in Kingsbridge, West Kingsbridge, called St. John's. People used to say, "Where you from?" They'd say St. John's or the parish.
Yeah.
And the priest, the head priest from St. John's, came in one day, and he said, "Mr. Lois, I've been getting a lot of complaints about what? That person that works for you." I said, "Who? The young boy?" "Oh, yeah." What did he do?" "Well, he's a nigger." Huh? He said, "So you must get rid of him." My father said, "No, I won't do that. He's a good young man. He's blah, 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 blah." "You don't understand. If you don't, we can't deal with you anymore." Every Sunday, one of the things I had to do all my life was take care of 6 palm trees, keep them nice and fresh. And every Sunday morning, like about 6 in the morning, I'd carry them up there, 2 at a time, without a 3-block walk. And then at the end, I'd pick fresh flowers. And I think I don't know, my father might have made $20 from it or something. A lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And my father said, "No, father. I'm your father. I cannot get rid of him." And he said, "Well, that's that."
Lose the business?
Yeah, that was the end of that. And I have 2 older sisters. And they heard about it and said, "My God, that's a terrible thing that Papa did." I said, "No. That's the most beautiful thing I ever saw in my life. A young kid that comes from the old country, I think he had like 2 years of education in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a
no public school system
they
or
didn't
anything.
have a school. There was only like 20 families living up there. And he came to America, and he learned. He spoke without a Greek accent.
Really?
And I know all his friends, and they all had a Greek accent, and wow, and he had the most beautiful handwriting of any person I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. I mean, it made Thomas Jefferson look bad. You know what I mean? And and I had books of his.
Yeah, the ledgers and such. And,
incredible, you know. Yeah. So I mean, I think his the kind of man he was made me always think
that you're living up to what he could have been.
I want to be like him.
Do you think there's something he wanted to be? Did he even think about pursuing?
Well, I think he taught me
that you could do
not to be racist in a racist neighborhood.
Oh no, I don't mean that part, but I mean in terms of his career. The way you describe it, he came here because he had to make money to send back.
Oh yeah, his drive.
Do you think there was an arch?
He came when he was 13, almost 14, mm-hmm. And he when he was 20, he opened a florist, a terrific flower shop on 137th Street and Broadway. Mm-hmm. There's pictures of him standing there. Whoa, natty and good-looking man.
Yeah. Well, you were also
no.
Really?
No. My wife said, "Oh no, you're just a good bullshit." He was a good-looking.
Oh, that was Drew Friedman's wife. When she saw Bruce J. Young pictures, she had whoa, my father-in-law's a good-looking man. So yeah, there's always that,
Oh sure. Yeah. Well, anyway,
no. I just wonder if you felt that
he was successful.
Yeah.
And how the hell did he do that? And he was successful being a good man.
Yeah, which is tough.
Make the money he sent went to different people. All my life, when I was young, I'd hear my mother kind of chewing them out for loaning people money.
Yeah.
And they didn't loan people money. He gave them.
Right. It was never coming back.
Yeah. My mother would she was tough. She would like chew them out. It's funny. In the Greek house, I mean, she's chewing them out. My father was great. Sometimes when you're sitting to eat together, and she's chewing them out, my sisters and me, and she's chewing them out, my father would be eating, and he'd go like this, without looking at her. And she'd skid to a halt.
He would take so much, and that was it.
So growing up, Greek was so great, Mm-hmm. If I brought a kid in my house, first take the shoes off,
We are shoeless now. I should
come in
point
the
out.
house, the house had smell. Incense was. You had a icona, a picture of the Virgin Mary. My mother was and incense, and I loved the smell. I grew up with it, and it was. Then you go into a Greek church, and the same smell,
Yeah.
The incense, she burnt incense all day long.
How much did those icons affect you graphically? Like, do you look back at those? Because I think of Warhol as a kid in Pittsburgh or out in the woods. Where all the heavy iconography and the sort of structures of all that stuff.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Was that a
very
big,
much so?
Okay. I know you weren't practicing.
When I was dragged to church on Sundays until I was about 8, and at that point I said, "Mom, I gotta stay in the store. I can't."
You see, as a Jew, we wait till 13.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm with you.
Enough is enough. Holy smoke is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty laser. But I got to tell you something. As much as I make fun of it, when I met Rosemary, she kind of dragged me to a Catholic novena or what are those things? Something at night. I don't know what it was. And she dragged me in. She was a little bit religious. She was trying, and proud that she was Catholic, I think. And I sit through it. He said, that was terrible. That was awful. I mean, that's so cold. And so nothing was happening. It was like, white bread, the whole thing. I'll take it. And I drag her to a Greek thing. I think it's the only time we ever went to church. And there's great stuff going on there. Mysticism, smoke. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. And then, the whole liturgy is sensational, But it was, I always was so proud to be Greek, and whenever I'd meet people, when Aristotle Onassis in the 60s and 70s, I guess, maybe later, whenever a Greek American was doing well in any walk of life, he was terrific. He kind of became tried to become a father to everybody, and it was kind of sweet, And he got his people to get me to come. I went to see him. The first thing he says is, speaking in Greek, he said, what was your name before Lois? And I said, no, my name is Lois. Lambda Omicron Eta. 3 letters. Lois? That's not Greek. I said, well, it was, I know it was our name for maybe 4 or 5 generations, but my name is George Charalambos Lois. My father was Charalambos Yorios Lois, and his father was Yorios Charalambos Lois, and it goes back. Doesn't sound right. And I went there a couple of times. He would have lunches, and he'd drag me. And he wanted like a club of Greek American. It was just kind of sweet. Anyway, one day this guy calls me up. He says, George, you have to be here tomorrow for lunch. At the what was the building? It's still there. Can't remember the name of the building. It's basically a Greek society now. Anyway, I can't make it. You have to be here. I show up. There's about 20 people there, all Greek Americans, having a party for me. Because he found out he closed the government of Greece.
Justifying.
He could.
Yeah.
These ship owners own Greece, to find out, traced my name, and they traced my name back to the 240 BC, and it was it was Logos, and it changed over the years to Lois. And Logos means word, but it doesn't mean the word. It means the word.
The Logos.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
At least that's from the Koine. Yeah.
So, but it's always a bit, I keep going on about it. It was always so important to me,
Is it something you found yourself? Well, was there discrimination when you were coming up in the ad world in the 50s and 60s?
I was an ethnic. I was the first.
That's what I wonder. Yeah.
I was the first ethnic, and I wasn't an ethnic right off the boat.
Yeah.
I was an ethnic that wouldn't take any fucking shit from nobody.
Right.
I mean, from nobody. What I'm not saying I hardened, but so I went to. So I'll go backwards a little bit. So I went to college at Pratt, and it immediately after 2 or 4 days, it was a shit. It was a terrible school. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were wrong about everything. But I wasn't going to leave Rosemary, who thought
reason to stay,
who had busted her ass to get to come to New York, and her mother her father and her mother wanted her to become a professional woman, not to be just a mother. It's a
housewife.
So she came.
Yeah.
So where was I?
You were going to quit Pratt, but you wanted to stay for her.
So I'm dragging out of the classes. Sit down for 15 minutes. Let's get the hell out of here. And sometimes if somebody's telling the story, they say, why would you just get up and walk out with him? She said, I don't know. I wasn't sure he was right about what he was talking about until 2 weeks later I saw him do a drawing class. And I saw a drawing he did, and I went, whoa. And then I saw a drawing she did, and I knew after 2 weeks I had her.
Yeah.
I swear. But I don't know where I was going with this.
Being discriminated against. This fed back from when I wondered if you were discriminated against once you were becoming a professional.
No, sure, no. So everybody knew I was Greek. Mm-hmm. I made sure wherever I went, everybody knew I was Greek.
Yeah.
And when people started to write about me, to write about my work, they were calling me the Golden Greek. And I mean, Phil Dyer, the writers for the Times, they never did, and they'd get 100 articles about me. You know, articles about campaigns I did.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just talking about me. It was like, I came up with a campaign. They talked about it, blah, 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 blah. And every month there was an important one there. And the Golden Greek, you know, and I'd always say that's redundant, you know. you know what I mean? I used to,
own it. But
there was a real, the business that, I mean, incredibly anti-Semitic to the point where some talented, very talented Jews started their own agencies. You know, you know, that's where Bill Bernbach, I don't know if you know who Bernbach is. You know, Bill Bernbach started them. What the Mad Men, what the show was about, you know, these guys were anti-Semitic,
racist,
womanizers, they drank themselves to death, and had no talent. You know.
But you guys.
But they would point me out as Greek.
Yeah.
And to the point, and I would brag about it. It would piss people off. Mm-hmm. It would piss wasps off. You know. And any chance they got, they used to try to take a shot at me. You know what I mean? I'd be like well-known stories about me starting my own ad agency when I was 27. I left the best agency in the world. I started my own. It was crazy. Everybody thought I was nuts. And they were all watching me, all these establishment, you know, loose trade papers, etc. Advertising age. I used to call them advertising old age. And I did an ad of many, you know, for codeine, cold medicine for kids. And it was just the black page, black. And it's a black page because there was a man and a wife sleeping there. But I did a black page, you couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And I just put type in and said, quote, John, is that Billy coughing? And then next to it said, get up and give him some codeine. In other words, get your ass up.
But you convey the whole.
I'm a man. You're the woman.
Yeah. Well.
So I would do all my career. I've done stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Not only against racism, but against male chauvinism, etc. You know. And anyway, and that was it. John, is that Billy calling? Get up and hold him. no logo, no body copy, no picture of the bottle, no nothing.
Yeah. Just the brand mentioned
Not
once.
Not even a line that said that they're from Pharmacraft. What was the name of it? They were Pharmacraft.
Oh, I don't even know who made that stuff.
Yeah, it was from Pharmacraft Laboratories.
Nowadays, you'd have to have 10 lines of side effect warnings and everything else at the bottom. But
so advertising age does an editorial, a one-page editorial.
Yeah.
Who are these? Who is this young? They want to say Greek fuck, who's destroying advertising as we know it. Thank you very much. No logo, no body copy, no photograph, no nothing. How dare he do this? I mean, I would get that kind of stupidity coming at me. And the more that happened, the more people who were looking to do better advertising and make me their hero.
Yeah.
Everybody working today, I'm 86, guys who are in their 30s and 40s, they all say, how'd you get away with doing all that? How'd you get away with that? I got away with it the way you could get away with it, if you fucking had a pair of balls, or talent,
That's, well, I do want to get to the question of whether today's ad men are too technology reliant, or whether there's some reason why everything is sort of safe and silly in its own way. But
for instance,
where do you think it all went wrong?
I say so far away from these guys, and always have. But I got dragged by a very good art director by the name of Lee Clow on the West Coast. I can't remember the agency. Anyway, and he begged me to come to Nice to.
Is it a festival?
There's an award show. Yeah, there's a festival. There's an award show for everything. Thousands of people go there, and I'd never gone near it. George had come out, just maybe introduce me and talk about me. Sure, okay. So my son and I went, and there was a press conference, and there's 200 reporters and everything talking, and then goes on and on and on. And I said, I've been sitting here for over a fucking hour, and nobody has said the word creativity. You're all talking about the stupid digital dumbness. No, they don't.
Impressions and all the.
It's so strange. Like yesterday, I think.
Okay, folks, this is one of those breaks I mentioned. George's wife called just then, so we had to take a break. But that leads into this story about his wife, Rosemary Lewandowski.
When I was with her, those first couple of weeks, and I'm all over. And after 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, I said, I got to ask her for a date. I never asked a girl for a date. Back in my neighborhood.
You just pick up? And
my neighborhood, without asking, you get laid, Mm-hmm. I remember. And I was like, I didn't want to push it, you know what I mean? So finally I said, figured out a slick way to say it. Rosie, I'm going to a movie Friday. You want to come with me? With me?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, I'll come with you. And to this day, I said, honey, I want to go. I'm going to go to a movie today. You want to come with me? She said, I'll come with you.
She adopted it.
She still busts my balls.
I dated one of those Syracuse girls myself once upon a time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you were saying the ad event you went to, the big festival, there's just no talk of creativity. Everything is just technical or or business.
I was yelling at somebody yesterday who somehow, some Greek guy convinced some guy who just was bought by a big agency, he's got a big agency, to meet me. I don't want to meet. What do I want to meet the guy for? Please do me a favor. Meet the guy. And his problem is, we're organized, we're doing everything well, but you know what? Nobody's very good at that creativity. I said, well, at least you know it.
That's a far sight ahead of most people.
Yeah, at least you know it. You understand?
Yeah.
I said, but I said, I'm looking at this agency. There are like 10 rooms, about 25 by 25.
Yeah.
With room, there's room in there for a group of 25 people. So you got a group and then there's a whole area where everybody's sitting next to each other with wires coming out of their asses.
Yeah. The whole open plan.
Some of them, and you go up to some of them and say, "What do you?" The guy airplane. What do you?
They're all listening to their headphones.
What are you listening to? Yeah. Music. Music? You're going to come up with a big idea with music playing? What an insult to the music! Yeah. No, I'm sitting there saying, first of all, just the way you lay, the way everything's group.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, everybody. George got another call, which turned out to be a grocery delivery. On the walk back to our table, he started talking about his bum knees, which is why the walk back to the table took a little while. And here we go.
Up till 12 months ago, I was playing full court ball.
I was going to ask, because
And
what did you in?
I can't get knee replacements.
Because of?
Well, you go to HH, you go to the hospital special surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say it, but they do not operate on anybody over 80.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I've seen that.
And they talk out of it by saying, "Oh no. Now you got to understand that
the risks are very high.
You could have a stroke.
Yeah.
Nothing we could do, and you could die. And they just keep rubbing it in to the point where.
Fine, okay, I'll suffer.
And my wife hears that, and she says, "You're not going to get a knee replacement." I said, "Honey, I'm having trouble. I'm really having trouble walking."
Right.
And the guys call me up I've only been able to play on Saturdays for the last 8 or 9 years. I used to play 5 times a week.
Jeez.
Go to work and come, and I mean kick-ass ball. I mean players, they call me up on Saturday and say, "Hey, pussy." What the fuck?
We're missing you out there.
Hey, pussy.
Yeah. There's a camaraderie to the court that I always enjoy. I just haven't played in years and years.
They see what my situation is. So, like once a month, after they play ball, we meet and we eat together, and it's great fun. Sweet guys. Everything. I mean, anything that. Whenever I give a talk or anything, they all show up,
Yeah.
They're all there. They go,
we don't know what he's talking about, but it's cool.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. They were at one, and you can't. They find out about it from somebody, and they say we're going there. And it was at Pratt. Because I hate Pratt, but it was at Pratt and I went because it was the black alumni at Pratt. Mm-hmm. Hard to say no. So I give a talk. First of all, I explained that the first day I was at Pratt, there was posters in the school of a minstrel show with
blackface. Yeah.
They said, really? I said, yeah. And I went to and the first day I was there, actually the second day, I went to the administrator or somebody important, and I said, how could you, it's racist, etc. And they said, that's Americana. What are you talking about? It's Americana.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Aren't you American? Anyway. So I give a talk, and my talks are usually pretty edgy, depending on, and I tell them a story. And part of the story, I said, talk to black alumni, and I said, Abraham Lincoln once said I forgot the exact quote, but to send.
I think, is it the line from Damn Good Advice?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, hang on.
At the top, yeah.
To sin by silence when they should protest, make cowards of men.
Right, yeah. And so on the first day, I get drafted. So what happens,
going back in time again.
With Pat is going into the second year, and I'm saying, what am I doing? I'm still here. I had the second mentor of my life, really, from Miss Engel at public school, PS7, was a teacher by the name of Herschel Levitt, and a terrific man, like Lenny Bernstein's best friend, and you know, and he didn't teach design, but he kind of taught life. I don't know,
like how to see or how to.
I don't know. Taught me about lobster. He played.
A nice Jewish boy teaching you about lobster.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I mean, I went to the High School of Music and Art. There was music there, but he would come in and for Claudia Knock to play records, and I mean, something really great about the guy. And after about 2 months, after 2 months, he said, he called me in the office and said, "What are you doing in school?" And I said, "Well, in school, I'm trying to become a graphic designer. You know, my father was a florist, and I want to be a florist." "Oh, you want a job?" "Oh." Wrote down the phone number. He said, "Go visit this woman. She has an art studio. Call it and see her as soon as she'll give you an appointment as soon as possible, and she will give you a job." Yeah. You know, he obviously had talked to her about it already. And I'm working, and then my wonderful woman by the name of Reba Socius, and I went from a kid to 2 weeks later I was head designer. In fact, she did a lot for me. One day I said to her, "Reba, my parents just went to Greece for a couple of weeks. Now's the time I want to get married. I can't get married because I'm not 21. Because in New York, you had to be 21 without your parents' permission. And I want to do it the next couple of weeks." And she said, "Oh, good. I'll talk to a lawyer that she knew. I'll talk to him tonight. I'll call you late tonight because I have to go to a play. I have to go to the theater." I said, "Okay, great." About 8 o'clock, I get a call from her. I said, "Reep, I thought you went to the theater." I'm in the theater. Shut up." "Yeah, Baltimore."
That's where they'll let you.
"What do you mean Baltimore?" She said, "I'm at Guys and Dolls, and you go to Baltimore to get married."
You go to Reno to get divorced? You go to Baltimore to get married?
I swear to God. So a week later, we went to Baltimore to get married. So, because my mother and father had the idea.
Do they not approve? They wanted a girl from the old country?
Ooh.
I'm guessing, but, I didn't want to stereotype.
My sisters. Oh,
Yeah, they were also.
I was destroying, and then when friends found, everybody found that I didn't marry a Greek girl. I didn't marry a Greek girl. They were calling up my mother with condolences. Yeah, I mean, that was serious. And my father kind of kept out of it because he knew I would do what I wanted to do. And he respected that. But I had 3 mothers, Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. So
did she win them over eventually?
So anyway, so what happened then is after I was out of school, maybe 6 months, or less than that, I got drafted.
You're off to Korea.
And the story's in there. I'm at the first day in
boot camp down south.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember. It's hang on.
Camp Gordon, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia.
Yes, you got it right.
Augusta, motherfucking Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, black. They were still hanging guys back then. Mm-hmm. They were still hanging guys, and black guys. And take the roll call. Johnson, right chair. What is right chair? Jones, right chair. Lois, yo. I think it was amazing. Comes up to me. He said, "What's with the yo? What's with the yo, soldier?" I said, "Roll call, sir." "What's with the yo?" I said, "Well, some boys all answered right chair, and I'm from New York." I said, "Yo, oh, another New York Jew fag nigger lover." And I went, "Go fuck yourself, sir." And I said, and this was at Pratt, before I wrote that. This was at Pratt talking to black alumni, right? And they went nuts. And all my buddies went like,
yeah.
And 3 of them are black guys, real close guys. And they're all going like,
George did some tough stuff.
At the same time, when you're with them, when they see a couple of guys fighting in the gym, having a fist fight, 2 black guys having a fist fight, and they're calling each other nigger, and they look at me, they say, "George, you're the biggest nigger up here."
My brother used to play basketball at Passaic County Community College when he was teaching there, and he was also 6'3", a good ball player. So they had him playing ball, and he dunked during warm-ups once, and that was his moment where, "Oh, Boaz, you my," and I'm not going to say it, but but yeah, that was his. He called me to kill. They called me this. This is the greatest moment of my life. That was it for him.
Ali.
Yeah.
Every day, every time I'd see Ali, 200 times, even 2 days in a row, it's a, "Hey, George, how's my nigger?" I'd say, "Muhammad, I'm your good nigger." Then I say, "Muhammad, how's my cracker?" And he would say, "I'm your good cracker." And then I say, "Muhammad, there are no good crackers." And whenever we did that, every time it was like a thing we had to do.
Yeah.
Every time, then his wife Ali, who a real Muslim, you can't fuck around. She said, "What is wrong with you 2 people? What is wrong with you 2 people? George, every time you Muhammad, he turns into a different person." No, that's him.
Yeah.
That's him. He grew up in Louisville.
Yeah. Is he your biggest hero?
Excuse me?
Was he, as far as heroic figures in your life?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of figure he's the number one hero. I mean, you also mentioned we don't have heroes anymore. We got celebrities.
No, what a great man.
But to you in your life.
The kindest, yet kind, sweet, to people,
and to make the sacrifice he made.
a lot of things. We're driving somewhere, and he's going, "Oh no, the kids are out of school. You know, the kids are at recess." And he had to jump out. Fucking Muhammad, we got to take care of the kids, right? One time, I'll never forget it. There was an old age home, an Hebrew old age home we passed. Yeah, gotta talk to the ladies. And there were like 6 women in rocking chairs on the porch. And I always go, "Oh, for Christ's sake." He goes up there. And he said, and they all look at him and they realize it's Muhammad Ali. I say, "If I wasn't Muhammad Ali, you would have called the cops, right?" I mean, he did that wonderful shit.
Yeah.
And then, and he was kind of talking to them. He was huddling with them for a while. He came back. It was at a time when he was, when he couldn't fight, he wasn't allowed to fight, when he was waiting for the Supreme Court decision, wasn't making any money, was still taking care of an entourage. And he said to the kind of a financial guy that was with us, he said, "Get $100,000 to those people this week before Friday." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "They're going to shut the place down if they don't have $100,000. I said, "Muhammad, we don't have it." Get it.
Yeah.
Get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no, he doesn't tell anybody that stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Just a beautiful. I mean, when the day I called him up and I said, "Muhammad, just want to let you know that Reuben Hurricane Carter was not guilty, because he was serving 300 years in jail."
Yeah.
He said, "George, you serious?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm convinced of it. I know it." And then I told him I want to start a committee of celebrities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you want to go with me to talk to his lawyer, their lawyers. And so he said, you say he's not guilty? That's good enough for me." And I told him, "Okay, I'm going to run an ad in the New York Times." He said, "Huh?" "Yeah, I'm going to do a little ad. New York Times is going to." I had a 3 or 4 day fight with the Times to run it. I had to see Sulzberger.
All the way at the top.
Everybody say, "We ain't going to run an ad from a killer."
Yeah.
Of 3 white people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I explained it. So finally, I got to Sulzberger and say, finally, I made it a whole First Amendment to the Constitution. And he said, okay, George. And I had an ad agency which helped. And he said, "Okay, fine, okay, we'll do it." I said, "Okay, one other request. It has to be on page 2. It can't be in theater. It can't be this. It can't be
buried in lifestyle.
It has to be. Okay. So we ran it at page 2, and then got on and people. I mean, it was almost a race riot. You know, the idea that the Times got 500 complaints.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we got on the phones that day, and I tell you the truth, we had 150 people. I mean, I got a list of them, terrific people, you know, politicians, senators. It's amazing, and he did it all like that, yeah. And committed himself to it. I mean, I had a friend who had a nightclub, and he's there. We had a boxing ring, and being serious, but at the same time, making everybody happy.
Yeah.
But he's just an incredible person. I mean, and a spiritual. I know religious, but I mean spiritual.
Yeah, there's a difference. I know.
Yeah, a spiritual. I mean, because I did the religion. He'd say to me, "Hey, George, listen to me." I said, "You're going to give me this. You're going to give me this Bible,
the Quran,
and Quran shit again." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." Okay. Yeah, and also, I'm going to tell you again, never eat pork. I said, Muhammad, I love pork.
Right.
want a lick? you know. But he would say he did he knew the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, his mother told me that he used to read the Bible. From the time he was 9 years old, and he used to carry the Bible around town, and people thought he was kind of a strange kid.
Yeah.
You know. But so he'd say, "Well, the Bible says this, and here's what the Quran says." Huh? Which is good? Which is bad? I said, I know the Bible. I mean, the Bible is evil. I know that. I mean, that's a terrible God. You know, that's really a terrible God. But your Quran is bullshit too. I mean, that's God talking to Muhammad, and he took the notes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm down.
You know, I mean, come on. Yeah, you know, I mean, Jesus Christ, his mother. Come on. They're both full of shit. No, George, no, and never eat pork. Nobody, I mean, and very sharp. Ooh, I mean, did you ever see the book, Ali Rap?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's hot shit.
Yeah?
No, if you love Ali, and if you think you know everything about him, you don't until you read it, because it's an autobiography in the sense that I used, 150 quotes, 50 that he told me, and 50 and the other 100 that I know he
sources
did. And I would do create an image with it, and it's him talking,
Yeah.
And people said, "How come you didn't work with Ali Rapper?" We're driving in Miami once, Bundini Brown is driving. It was like 1974, 5. And Bronx Rap came on in the
radio?
convertible. Yeah, that was really the first rap. Like this weird shit. Hey, Joe, shut up. And then I said, and I was serious, I said, "Muhammad, that's fucking you. They're doing you."
Mm-hmm. All the rhythms of his trash talking and the rhymes that he wrote.
I said, "That's you."
Yeah.
And they do some rhythm horseshit to it, if you call that rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, in a nanosecond, he said, "Hey, George, you don't understand." Looks around. First I wrapped them with my mouth. Then I wrapped them in the mouth. Like that.
Yeah.
That's why I did the book.
Yeah.
The first heavyweight champion of rap. But it's true. I went and talked to a lot of the big rappers. I didn't know who they were, but I had to find out who they were. And I talked to them, and they said, "Yeah." The early rappers said they used to memorize his stuff.
Yeah.
And
that was their groundwork. Last break, I promise. George's wife came home, so we took a little break here. Which agency do you think you were doing your best work? Do you have a period in your career that you feel like this was when I was...
Well, a lot of people write about me, and they talk about when I started my ad agency, and there was, All Day Burnback was the only creative agency in the world. based on the fact that Bill Bernbach, the head guy, was lucky enough when he was working at a Jewish agency. There was an art director there by the name of Paul Rand. And when I was 14 and when I started music and art, he was like 26 or 27. And this young guy did terrific work, very much his own, didn't work with anybody, and got away with it.
Yeah.
And that work was modern and sharp, and he became immediately the mentor, the god of modern design, and all the people that and all the important people that I worked for, and all the iconic guys all give him that credit.
Sure.
And what he learned, and he was lucky enough to work with Rand. They warned him, listen, Paul Rand, he won't back ass, he does this and that, and you better leave him alone. He was hired Bernbach was hired as the chief copywriter. So you better stay away from him, and he's a cantankerous motherfucker, and be careful. But Bernbach, nice man, went in and talked to him and said, oh, gee, that's terrific work. That's a terrific headline. Gee, maybe do a twist and say this instead of this. I said, no, not bad. And he worked his way into the point where they started to work together, as much as Rand, let's say, work, and he had an epiphany. Gee, if a copywriter works with an art director who really understands design, understands imagery, et cetera, you can do better advertising. I said, duh. Yeah. I mean, I knew that when I was 12, But based on that, he started Doyle, Day and Bernbach. And was very lucky hiring. We had terrific luck by hiring an art director by the name of Bob Gage and a woman writer by the name of Phyllis Robinson. They did terrific work together, and they, in 2 or 3 years, became, a revolutionary ad agency. They tried to hire me as the head of when I was 24, as the head of their promotion department. And I said, great, I'll do all the promotion of everything, but I want 3 or 4 ad accounts too. And they said, no, it's only that. You only do promotion. So I walked out. They couldn't believe it. And finally, I went, at a certain point, I went there. I think it's time to go there. And I only worked there a year. I walked in, but I went to that place like a knife through butter. I won all the awards and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And
this is post DDB?
Excuse me?
This is post DDB, or is this?
No, that was the Doyle Day Bernbach. No,
that was in the year there.
I go there for.
Yeah.
I went there, and Bernbach knew I was different. I mean, they had some good art directors. Gage was a great art director, but he knew my work was edgier, and I had points of view about stuff. He'd say, hey, George, do you really like the advertising that Doyle Dane does? I said, sure. Like, name something you really like. I said, well, the best thing you've ever done is to leave his bread. Levy's account with Levy's rye bread. You don't have to be Jewish to
enjoy
to eat Levy's. He said, the best by far. What are you talking about? I said, yeah. It was a real campaign. You did 20, 30 ads, and they were all the same ad.
Yeah, you just swap out.
But each one was great fun. So everybody in town, everybody knows fucking Levy's is the Jewish rye bread. I mean, it's so memorable, and yet the captain, and he says, "So you mean you like slogans?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "That's so old-fashioned." I said, "Bill, fucking is old-fashioned, but it works. But it works." No, so I was able. Nobody had the balls to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
I talked to him about this all the time, right? And it came to a point where I had a guy who I helped start an agency, and they didn't do well. Got him a Fed Puppet. He came to me. I wasn't looking to leave Doyle Dane Bernbach. Bernbach treated art director. He treated me and Bob Gage and a guy by the name of Helmut Krohn and Bill Taubin like we were gods. You know, you had to show your work to him before you do it, and you'd go up with a copywriter and show him what you want to do, and he'd say, "George, that's incredible." He didn't even look at the writer. "George, how'd you do that?" I mean, he treated the art director like they were gods because it's something he couldn't do.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the writer is,
you can figure out the words for that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really strange. I mean, he treated you like the day I told him that I was leaving. I mean, he started to cry. And when I did leave, everybody was going, "Cuckoo." I mean, the industry said, "Fucking George Lois is leaving what to start an agency? You can't do it." But Bernbach looked me and Julia Caney, the writer. I was bringing a writer with me because you had to have a writer's name in the masthead.
Sure.
I don't need a writer, but and it was the first time there was an ad agency in America for sure where an art director's name was in the masthead. Mm. There was no. All those names were always account executives, or writers, you know. So when I told him, "Well, hey, George, there can only be one creative agency in the world." He said that to me. He said, "No, Bill. We're going to be the second, and then there's going to be a third and a fourth. And if things go good, fifth and a sixth." He said, "I don't think so." You know, strange. You know, guy who had the vision of
but felt only one company could do it.
But a very, very sweet guy, very, very, very sharp. He never wrote anything. One time.
Yeah.
Helmut Krohn was the art director. He was a Kraut, so he's the art. He made him the art director of Volkswagen because he was a Kraut.
Yeah.
And then he begged me to be the art director on the wagon, which was important. And I said, I ain't going to fucking Germany. And he said, "Why not? You're Jewish. I'm Greek. Do I have to tell you what the Nazis did to your people? Do I have to tell you what the Nazis did?" And it wasn't. And that was
like 60 or so, 59. Yeah.
45, 59. That was like yesterday, you know. Mm. And he just, I said, no, I ain't going. And finally, like 2 days before I was supposed to go, I said, I'm not going. He knocks at my door, and I had a glass, a frosted glass, and he did like a weird, here's Johnny kind of thing before here's Johnny.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. And then he held up the New York Post, and it said, Germany sells Israel 22 jets.
And you say, if they're willing to compromise on this,
So I took a deep breath. I said, all right already. Mm-hmm. and I go to Germany. I felt so guilty that I insulted everybody there. I mean, I'm walking with Hans Nordhoff, the head of Volkswagen. This idyllic little village. You know, looks like Grant Wood did it, you know. He provided a Paul Revere, you know, beautiful. And it's four of us walking. We walk past a beautiful little Lutheran, I guess, church that has some structure on it, some wooden structure they were working on it. And I said, Herrn Nordhoff, a V2 rocket launcher. I mean, I did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He kept away from me. Anyway.
So I remember when NASA brought in Werner von Braun, they had some promotional movie for him called I Shoot for the Stars, and someone subtitled it, but sometimes I hit London. Apparently, people would not let that go. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's like Dr. Strangelove. Mein Führer. Mein Führer. Wasn't Sellers incredible?
Oh, yeah.
In all those parts.
You get talent like that. We just don't.
On the phone, he says, you know, what was the name he gave to the Russian dictator? But he said, he wasn't Nikita, but he said, well, Nikita, I'm sorry. You know, I know you're sorry, and I'm sorry too. But they're coming, and you have to knock them out of the sky. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it.
It's like an old Bob Newhart routine, except nuclear war.
What a masterpiece, you know.
Yeah. He was amazing. But you ended up doing the VW after insulting the hell out of them.
So, I mean, you don't know, there's a gigantic area, like a football field below the factory. Go down there, and there's all the important VWs that have been over the years. One was all gold. One was like the first Volkswagen, and it was like, and they're all wrapped, covered in canvas. And look, I spotted one in the back that you knew was a semi-tank with a BAR on the top, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of snuck back, but there was like six of us talking, they were showing it, and I snuck back, find it, pull the top off, get up there, go, you cocksucker, and the swastika's still on it. Swastika's still on it.
Yeah.
So that was it. But anyway, so I came back. So I did a campaign for Volks for the station wagon. The Think Small stuff didn't get an award, but the station wagon got the award. Everybody was so pissed off, you know. But no, I mean they don't have a chance to do good work.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wonder for you, like, what was do you feel like you had a phase or an agency you were at where this was the best I was doing?
No. So everybody talks about the '60s and the original work I did, and of course and they mostly talk about the Esquire covers. I
thought you'd appreciate it. Did not mention Esquire this entire time. I thought you would like having one interview where that doesn't come up.
Yeah, I know. No, but actually the most prolific were the '80s.
Yeah.
At marketing, big marketing breakthroughs. I created lean cuisine out of left field. I mean, I had an agency in Pittsburgh that got the what do you call it account, the Stouffer's account.
Yeah.
And they bring the born guys to town, have lunch with them, and try to say something smart, you know. You're ever going to produce a really gourmet, a good tasting, frozen food, a healthy, good tasting one. And they give you 10 reasons why they can't do it. And they start talking about it would be too expensive and stuff like that. So I go back to the agency, I do a logo called Lean Cuisine,
Boom.
I tell them you don't have to do an ad campaign. Yeah. Put it on the shelf. Lean Cuisine. Yeah. Got it.
You just go make it and sell it.
MTV, I was at the MTV period. MTV was broadcasting to nobody, literally. And they were talking to me about some other thing. Viacom had the movie channel and Nickelodeon, etc. And they said, well, they wanted me to take 2 of the accounts. And I said, I want that MTV one. They said, no, you don't understand. That's only $250,000 campaign. I said, no, that's the one I want. Why? Because it's the best idea you got.
Yeah.
And I go to them and I said, well, first of all, I take your logo, which is okay, but I want to put things in the logo, like, and I showed them, I put the Rolling Stone logo
the tongue
in the logo. So every time you say MTV, it's exciting and it ain't this. Yeah. Which I think somebody said, well, no, you can't do that because you'd have to get a new.
Permissions or rights or
a new right.
Or to copyright everything.
New copyright on each one. I said, oh fuck. Oh shit. I don't remember saying, let me out of here. Anyway, so finally, I said, you guys are all 25, 26, 27. Remember 10 years ago, you were 10 or whatever. Do you remember a campaign I did for Maple cereal? Mickey Mantle, I want my Maple. Will Chamberlain, I want my Maple. Oscar Robertson, I want my Maple. I mean, whatever. Then you see a package, Maple, the oatmeal cereal that heroes cry for. Danny Dunn, Meredith says, I want my Maple. I want it. Oh, yeah. They're going crazy, right? They said, oh, yeah, what a kid. They loved all these young guys. I said, okay, now you fuckers are 27, 28 years old. Now I want to have all of you cocksuckers saying, I want my MTV. And there was dead silence. And Bob Pittman finally said, George, you don't understand. We have been trying for 2 years to get anybody in the rock industry to help us to do something about it. We tried everybody. Nobody could. Everybody thinks that if we were successful, that we're going to destroy music sales.
Yeah, because people will just watch rather than buy.
What happened? And then I described a commercial I could do. The rough cut. Okay. And at the end, the voiceover says, if you don't get MTV where you live, pick up the phone, dial your local cable operator and say, and at that point I got Big Jagger or somebody like that, I want my MTV. And they said, you couldn't get anybody in a million years. We have tried day and night. So you want to go back and come up with another idea? I said, okay. So I go back to the agency. I call Bill Graham.
The promoter, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he died young. Otherwise, he would really be famous. And the reason I knew Graham is because he got me involved with Bob Dylan.
Which connected to the Reuben Carter stuff?
Well, no, actually, I got involved with Dylan to help Ali and me with Reuben Hurricane Carter.
Yeah.
I'm jumping too far ahead. And so I call him up and I said, he says, George, if MTV was successful, it would destroy the music business. I said, fucking Graham, I thought you're another asshole. How can you say that? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, who are you looking for? I said, I'd love to get Mick Jagger so I can stick it up their ass. He said, and he gives me his phone number, and he says, in London, he said, here's his phone number, but you cannot tell him I give you the phone number. so that was like an hour after, that was 50 minutes after I left MTV. Mm-hmm. And I called, it was like 5 o'clock in New York, and I called, it's 10 o'clock, and I get, Jagger answers the phone. I mean, you could see his lips on the phone. And I start explaining, and I don't know what I said, but I'm explaining. Mick, you there? Yeah. Blah, blah. That happened about 10 times. You're there? And then finally I said, so what do you say? He said, I'll be there on Monday. Of course, I then tried to make sure. He came, and I'll pick you up at the airport, blah, blah, blah. I'll be there. I gave him an address of a studio I hadn't rented yet, you know. And no, I'll be there. I said, Mick, but I could really help you. I'll be there. I called up Bob Pittman, and I said, Bob, I got Mick Jagger, I think. What do you mean you think? I explained that. So I got to rent the studio for Monday. He says, and you're not sure he's coming? Well, I'm hoping. He said, I'm not going to pay for that. I said, okay, fuck you, I'll pay for it. He said, no, okay, we'll. They all show up, all these 12 guys, and it's 9 o'clock, we're waiting, and at 9:15, 9:30, they come about, he walks in at 9:40, there is a guard, and I almost kissed him,
Your lips wouldn't have survived.
And they're all sitting there and saying, this is the fucking guy that rock star. And then he said, oh, by the way, I brought a couple of people you might want to shoot, Pat Benatar and Peter Townsend. I said, yeah, why not?
As long as they're here.
Yeah. In any case, so that was another big miracle marketing story. You understand? The other, another miracle marketing story was Jiffy Lube. Jiffy Lube had 2 stores, a terrible logo. I convinced them to start going nationally. We had 2,000 stores in 2,000 stores in almost in 2 years. I mean, that was like not a big thing. Then there was a Tommy Hilfiger, which was a ridiculous success, outrageous, you know the ad I'm talking about?
Yeah, with the first initials of the first and last names.
And he was obviously totally unknown, working for a guy by the name of Majani. Majani was starting a little line for him to kind of jerk him off because he was going to leave. And
this way you give him his own imprint.
So built the store, and then I said to Majani, the store's going to open in a month. I mean, you need a budget. He said, I don't want to advertise. I said, you can't do that to the kid. You can't do that to the kid. Why would anybody walk into that store? I mean, there's a Ralph Lauren store 2 blocks away, and it's, okay, yeah. All right. 180,000 or something. Good. I said, good. I'll spend it in a couple of weeks. He said, anyway. I did Johnny was a very smart guy. He looked at it. He said, "Whoa." He understood. Tommy looked at it and shit in his pants.
About to inflate him.
Whoa.
Beyond his stature.
They'll hate me. They'll this. They'll that. I'm not, probably some fear, some of his work, maybe, I don't know. But it was like, and Johnny said, fuck him, let's just run it. I said, no, I can't do that to the kid. And finally, I said, the only way to convince him is I had a couple of my count guys. I gave them an ad piece. Go to 59th Street and the wet building, the big building back then. It was a summery day. And walk around. There's all the young guys all dressed well. Show it to him and say, "What do you think?" Because I knew what the answer was going to be. Yeah. Who the fuck is TH? Right? Everybody said, "Who the hell is TH?" Oh, this is interesting. Well, who is he? What's his name? Right? So I went back. I could have just lied and said we did it, but we did this thing and came back and said, "Tommy, talked to 40 young kids verbatim. Who the fuck is TH?" This guy said, "Who the hell is TH?" This guy said, "Tell us more. Who this?" I said, "Tommy, this is your only shot." Yeah. And he said, and what's funny about this is my son and my grandson are working on doing a documentary on me. And they already interviewed some people. And one of the people they interviewed was Tommy. They were asking him questions so they could get stuff. And he tells the whole story. Because he's one of these guys, that very sweet guy. When people said, what would you have done if you didn't listen to George Lois? He said, "I'd be poor today." Not many people you make famous say that.
They respect the truth of that. Okay.
No way. They did it on their own, Yeah. So basically, it was a poster, telephone poster back then. Nice page. And I made sure that one of them, they were going up that morning or the day before. And I checked out the post, and the post had one of those telephone kiosks, like right in front of their entrance. And so about 2:30 that day, or 3 o'clock, I called the guy who does Page 6.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about from back then.
He used to play ball with her. He wasn't a bad ball player. I used to play ball. Anyway, so I called up and said, whatever his name is. Anyway.
I know. It's killing me because I'll remember the second I leave.
So I said, Jack. It wasn't Jack, right? Yeah. Jack, have you seen, and I started to describe it, right? Like 5 words. He said, "Holy shit, everybody stop calling. Look, it's fucking Lois." It's Lois. I knew it had to be somebody like Lois, right? Mm-hmm. And
I saw this one ad on the way into
calling around town. Yeah. Who the fuck is TH, right? Yeah. I mean, and I explain who he is. Mm-hmm. Page 6 is a page like this. It's usually this. They did a thing this big. Who the hell is T-H-? And they explained it. And then the New York Times, Randy Waterberg did the marketing in the New York Times. And he does a story. Is Tommy Hilfiger successful because of his store or his advertising? It was open 2 days. A week later, he was on a Johnny Carson show.
So really that period in the 80s?
No, I was talking about they interviewed him, and they were showing me some of the footage. And somebody said, give us one word. One word for Lois. I guess he. And Tommy said, "Scary." And everybody didn't understand why he said scary. I said, because I was beating on him. Yeah. I was dragging him into becoming a billionaire.
Some people don't know what they got.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that was another one that was...
So really that run in the 80s, though, was... you feel like that was...
There were... I'm trying to remember all. The last week of 1980, when they were doing the Times, the Wall Street Journal was doing a wrap up of the
best of the decade.
10 best marketing successes of the 80s, and Fordham were mine.
It's got to feel good.
Something like that. So I'm saying that because of the big things that came out of it, you know. You can look at the success in sales and selling,
that there's a number
of every art director in the world, and maybe each of them has half of them don't have any, and the other half have one. Mm-hmm. You know, I got dozens of them, and one of the reasons why is when I have something to work for, somebody to work for, somebody I got to do something for, I don't strategize. Yeah. You know, these what art directors were before, not before Doyle Dane. I mean, while Doyle Dane was still going on, most of those, every agency would have an account executive who worked on a campaign, maybe a writer, working with the marketing people in the client's area, and together they would come up with a strategy.
Yeah, I get you.
And it's always unambitious. It's like an obvious strategy that guys that don't know too much, but they think they know too much, say, gotta do this. And that was always given to a writer to try to make sharp, and then they handed that to the art director, and do something. You know, I mean, it's all non-talents working together, and I always go for the big idea, and it's hard to explain how I got the big idea, but I never fail. Mm-hmm. I can. Sometimes it takes a couple of hours. Sometimes it takes me a couple of hours. You know, when I work with my son, you know, and we get something, and I say, okay, do this and this and this and this and this, and all of a sudden he says, oh my God, that's fucking good.
Wow.
Because if I do something that's really sharp and catchy and memorable, sometimes seemingly outrageous, but then it makes sense. In that idea is my strategy. The strategy's there
emerging
instinctively.
From yeah. And
so all my life when I present stuff, I do a book of Xeroxes, you know, which was another big success here. Yeah. I didn't tell you about it. In it, I have an overview and a marketing overview and a strategy. And the strategy is something where they say, well, how could you do that? And then I show what I did.
Yeah.
Say, how'd you get that? It's amazing. But because I did it, I would do it the other way.
You did the idea first and then
I get the idea, and then I work on TV campaign, I work on a radio campaign, even if they're not going to do TV, you know what I mean? I do it, I do all kinds of branding, I do their business cards, I do their letterheads, I do every part of a business, you know. The Xerox thing. The Xerox thing was, but I did that Xerox at PKL. We get the account, Haloid Xerox. We literally get it because they said they were trying to get Doyle Danes, but they couldn't do it because of some kind of conflict. And then they did research, they gave the account. I got fired 2 times insisting that they change the name from Haloid Xerox to Xerox, the brand name. The reason they want Haloid Xerox is because the guy who created xerography, Colton, came in and spent 15 years trying to sell xerography. IBM went to everybody. They turned him down.
Yeah.
So finally he goes to this little paper Lloyd up in Rochester. They make printing paper, and together they developed the 914, right? So you got to call it Lloyd Xerox. I said, no, you don't.
Just pay him afterwards. It's okay.
The Lloyd guys are going to get rich too, if we do this right? They could find me twice, you know. Yeah. And then they almost fired me when I said, okay, we're going to create a commercial. I want to do a commercial with a little girl visiting her father's at work. Do it very stylishly, you know, very simple, nothing. And he said, make a copy of this, please, Sarah. And she toddles off to music, and she makes a copy. Then she makes a copy of a doll, and she comes back, and he said, oh, terrific, which was the original? They said, we're not going to do television. We only are talking to 5,000 people in America. And I said, business agents, you know, correct. I said, yeah, but no, we can make Xerox famous overnight, so that officers understand that what it is, this is this. The policemen, cops, everybody alive. You're fired. You're fired 3 times. Okay, I'm going to come back to the agency, and somebody said, what happened? I said, well, I got fired again.
Again? Yeah.
And in the middle of me telling everybody, I get a phone call from Joe Wilson, the head of it, and he said, okay, Lois, do it, right? So we do a campaign, we do that. And it runs for a couple of weeks, and they get a cease and desist from the FCC. A.B. Dick, that's a company aptly named, says that a little girl couldn't make a copy that easily. You know, and everybody said, got the file first. I said, everybody quiet. Told the account guy, call them up, say, we're going to reshoot the commercial. We want you there as witnesses. Mm-hmm. Huh? We're going to shoot the commercial. We're going to reshoot it. And we want witnesses. And gave him a date a week later. I didn't even know if you could teach a chimpanzee to do it. Yeah. But I kind of figured they would. You know? And they all showed up and did the same commercial except it was a chimpanzee. Oh, Sam, like a copy of this, please. You know.
Feeds it in.
You know, makes the cut. We taught the chimpanzee to do it quicker than we taught the little girl. And then he swings in. Yeah. That's terrific. That's terrific, Sam. Which one's the original? Right? Of course, the guys from the FCC laughed their ass off. They looked at it and they said, touche, you know. Ran the commercial. There was a big news story. There was a big news show on Fridays, big name, and we ran a little girl commercial at the beginning, and at the end of the hour, we ran the chimpanzee on a Friday. Monday afternoon, they called us up, and the account went from a $250,000 account to $9 million because they knew what they had. Yeah. Because they were getting people going crazy. Yeah. Everybody wanted it, right? Yeah. So that Xerox was going to be a success. It had to be sooner or later. But they had a 10-year plan, and we did the 10-year plan in 6 months, and they got rich. All of these, a dozen of those guys had 10,000 shares at least, doubled, tripled, doubled again, tripled, doubled again. I mean,
people
there were
rich.
guys they said who had 10,000 shares who were worth $4 or $5 million.
I was in the wrong line of work.
But the neighbor, again, I mean, what you say, the solar salesman?
Yeah.
It's got to work.
And that's the thing,
But
the understanding that there's money, that there's art on the one side, but that you're also part of a commercial thing, like that understanding that you're selling something, that the whole nature of what you're doing is selling something. I mean, that's like a lot of artists don't have that.
No, I always tell people got to love your advertising. And that's another reason advertising agents used to run. They did a big blast on me because what do you mean they got to love your commercial? No, they got to love your product. I said, schmuck. Schmuck. You know, great advertising makes perfume smell better, makes food taste better, you know, makes cars run better, you know. And that's not dishonest advertising. That's
what it does.
That's getting people to get such a kick out of your message, and it's in top of mind. I mean, there were things like, you know, I won't on TV. Everybody was saying, but I did a campaign for Braniff.
Oh, if you got it flaunted?
Yeah, it's interesting because Mary. By the way, Mary Wells was at Doyle Dane when I left, and she was one of the smart ones that came in and said, "Wow, what you're doing is so terrific." And everybody else was going cuckoo. In the hallways, people were going, "Hey, cuckoo! How can you leave Doyle Dane?" But she was smart enough to, at that point, she didn't start her own agency. I don't think she couldn't figure out how to get it going, but she worked for Ken Erickson or some agency. It's like a little boutique, and it was like a jerk off. But what happened is she got the Braniff account, Harding Lawrence, and then they fell in love. They got married, right? And then he said, you do my advertising, you open up an ad agency, right? So she very smart, and she did good work too. But after 5 or 6 years, she did a terrific campaign. The end of the planes. You know, she had planes colored. She got called to do a plane. You know, very smart. And one day she goes to Harding Lawn, her husband. She said, "Harding," and at that time it was like a $5 million account. And she said, I'm sorry, but I have to resign working for Braniff. You know, huh? I said, well, yeah, I've been offered the TWA account. I forgot what it was, which won $40 million. Business, Harding.
Right. You got to take the big one. Yeah.
And he said, what the hell? How about me? She said, call George Lois, and give him the account. Don't fool around. Give him the account. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Don't fuck around. So she calls me up. Oh no, he called me up and he said, George, I'd like you to come see me. I'm thinking of giving you the account, but she had called me earlier and said, don't take any shit from him.
It's yours. Yeah.
I said, Mary told me not to take any shit from you, that I was going to get the account, so let's not fuck around, okay? I mean, okay? And, he's not a dumb guy. He said, okay, let's, and so I work on a campaign. I do some storyboards. When you got it flaunted, but it was like odd couples.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali and Whitey Ford.
Warhol
Andy, Warhol talking with the, not talking, I mean,
whispering with
listener.
Yeah.
He still didn't. He didn't realize who he was.
Yeah, Sonny Liston didn't know Warhol,
yeah. And
you can imagine. Yeah.
Bennett Cerf working with Ethel Merman.
Yeah.
And they're very sharp copy. It was fun to. So I showed him the campaign. He says, "I had to go." You always had to go to doubt. He either he wasn't a racist or he hid it, or he hid it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because he was married to. First went down there, he introduced me to his son. His son's name is States' Rights. Like you introduced you to my son, States' Rights. And I said, "You're shitting me." So he's there. Yeah. Two of them age. I'd like to introduce you to my son, States' Rights. You're shitting me. So anyway, so he said, "We have to test it." Honey, get the fuck out of here. You can't test a campaign like that. The only thing you can test in advertising is a mediocre campaign. People, you do this and this and this and this. Ask people, what do you think? It makes sense. You can't test a campaign where I got two people talking and one goes in there. I got to do it. I said, fuck. 2 weeks later, he calls me up, you got to come down and hear the results of the test. I said, honey, I'm not going to come down there and flagellate myself. Come on. He said, you got to be here. I go down. Some guy gets up and he does. Some of the research said that people who ride Braniff all the time said that if you ever ran that advertising, they'd quit riding Braniff. It was that. Yeah. So I'm sitting there listening to it, an hour of it, and I finally get up. Honey, I've been thrown out of better places than this. He said, sit the fuck down. He said, you guys all can leave the room because we're going to do this campaign. The guy...
Yeah, recognize that the marketing, the focus groups are not who you want.
He recognized it himself, you know what I mean? I don't think, because he didn't have Mary to talk to. He didn't get it and then think about it and have Mary say it was good. Anyway. And the business had boomed when Mary did that campaign, and then they doubled with this fucking, everybody talking about Andy. He said, I met him when he was Andy Warhol, when I was working for Reba Socius. She used to use him to do...
you draw shoes, right?
Drawing nice drawings of shoes. Kind of a little blot thing. You draw a line and you blot a little bit. He had a little technique there. But he could draw. Yeah, he was shooting the commercial. Well, actually, he came early because he knew I was shooting a bunch of commercials, so he came and watched every shoot. Ooh, I love it. And then Liston showed up. I said, let's do you. Okay. And so I explained, people talk, I gave them the copy to talk, and then they say, when you got it, flaunt it. They say, so let's go through it. I said, blah, 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 blah. And he knew the time when he had a story. And then he said, when you got it, flaunt it. Terrific. Andy, fucking 10 times louder. When you got it, flaunt it. We did it 8 times. And when you're shooting something and you're not getting it, the crew knows it. Yeah, there's a vibe over the whole. And they're all kind of doing this. You know what I mean? And they're afraid that I would go ape shit. I've been known to. And so after about 7 or 8, when you got it, flaunt it. I said, terrific, Andy. Got it. Said, ooh. And he kind of walks into the dressing room, and 8 guys are saying, you don't have it. You don't have it. I said, I know I don't fucking have it. I'll get Frank, my pal Frank Garrick. He's a gay guy I knew, nice, sweet guy. I'll get Frank, and they knew he used to show up sometimes. I'll get Frank Garrick to dub it. And he was gay.
Yeah, like the flamboyant.
Yeah. You know, he was a lot of good guys themselves, but then so I kept bringing Frank. I said, Frank, just say it your way, baby. You know, the fairy way. You know,
yeah.
When you got it, flaunt it. Okay. So Andy, when he left at the end of the day, he said, George, you have to send me all these commercials. They're so great. You're so brilliant. You know, ooh, and so good looking. He used to say that.
It's our curse.
I said, thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
So he calls me up. I edit them. I send it to him a week later, maybe a little longer, in the morning. And at 3, 4 in the afternoon, he calls me up and said, oh, George, we're all going crazy down here. He's at his factory. Oh, we got it. Oh, the Salvador Dali, what do you call it? And Satchel Paige, and he knew Satchel Paige. And what do you call it? Mickey Spillane and the woman poet. Anyway, but you know what? I said when you got it flaunted better than anybody. Ain't that great?
Yeah. Last question. I promise I'm keeping you here all afternoon. I thought I'd let you out early, but your son is in the family business?
I work with him.
Yeah.
He.
So given you're branching away from your father and going into your own line, how does it feel having a son in the family business?
No, it's great. What happened is in the year 2000, I so-called retired, right? Mm-hmm. And my Rosie says to people, he didn't retire, he just got tired. Yeah. I think I was retired for 2 days, and I said, this is ridiculous. Yeah. So I said to Luke, who was a photographer, terrific photographer, he did most of my photography when he got out of RIT. I said, Luke, get me a young guy who I can work with, because the guys I've had to work with at the agency, I never thought any of them really got it. Mm-hmm. They did what I told them, but it was like
just a robot
pulling teeth, and teaching them how to set type is impossible. I don't want typing, but I mean, you can't be. You got to type it, and then you got to work on it. You know. He said, "Pop, I'll work with you." I said, "You never did that." He said, "I've been up there watching those guys. Believe me. Let me work with you." I said, "Okay. What do you need?" And we figured out all the equipment he needed. I remember saying to Rosie, "Gee, I hope Luke knows what he's talking about, because I couldn't say no to him." Well, he's fucking great. I mean, he was great day one.
Yeah.
I mean, day one, I think I went up to him and I said, "I got to do this and this and this," you know, and they write something, what do you call it? And I look away and I said, "Bingo," you know. And we've been doing that for 17 years. Yeah. You know, we did, on top of branding and doing all the other stuff I do, we did, I think 5 of the books, 6 of the books, because I think I got 11 books. We did Celebrity together. That's a fun book, isn't it?
Oh, it's a delight. Yeah.
It all kinds of shit's happening in it. Yeah.
Well, that was where I discovered you directed my favorite video of all time.
Say it again?
That's where I discovered you directed my favorite video of all time, music video, the Bob Dylan one that you did. That my brother and I are both just, when I told him I'm going to be interviewing the guy who directed Joker Man.
I'm working on it right now. It's almost like a command performance already. I can't tell you how many people want me to write a book about that.
About working with Dylan?
I'm working on a book right now. I just started a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I said, it's time already. Hold it.
I usually ask guests, what are you working on next? But when they're 86 years old, I tend not to. But
well, I'm branding Chinese restaurants. There's some guys who want to build really good Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. We have a great one up in Toronto that my wife and I visit. That's
What's the name of it?
Lai Wah Heen. I'll email you about it because it's like the greatest Chinese in North America.
Really, because these guys seem to really know what they're doing, and what they really want to do is they want to do 1,000 of them in America.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can do one really high end, but making it scalable, that's
but anyway, what was I saying?
What are you working on with the next book?
When I had the white stripe around it, this is going to be like my cover. Bob Dylan's Joker Man meets Madman George Lois.
I will buy that, and if you have any ability to connect me with Bob Dylan, that would be great too.
The creation of the iconic.
Those are the greatest videos of all time. And, although I didn't realize you were actually using your own image. The great moment with JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King when you pan across that shot. I didn't realize that was your own Esquire cover.
Yeah.
With the lyric, it's only a matter of time till night comes stepping in. That's.
Oh yeah, sure.
Trust me, I've got the entire goddamn thing memorized.
I got Muhammad Ali in there.
Yeah, you've got the Saint Sebastian image too. But
and I put in.
I respect
JFK, Dr. King, and
see, I respect a guy who knows his own work is so goddamn good that it actually has that resonance instead of being, self-effacing. No, I couldn't possibly put my stuff in here. You're like, no, I want the most powerful image there is. That's what I'm going to use.
I mean, it goes with they went with the lyrics.
Yeah, it's. I remember seeing it when I was a kid. I was 12 or 13 years old.
The lyrics.
Yeah,
the lyrics, with the JFK and Bobby and Dr. King, you could cry,
I get chills every time I watch that thing again and again. I've got it in a little YouTube
anyway,
folder.
It's gonna be. I'm having fun designing it.
I will come back and sit down with you to talk just about that book and that process. So, but until then, George Lois, thanks so much for coming on the Virtual Memory Show.
Great.
And that was George Lois. You should check out his website, georgelois.com, to learn more about his storied career. That's GeorgeLois.com. I've enjoyed a bunch of his books, including Celebrity, Damn Good Advice, and The Big Idea. Celebrity is spelled $ELLEBRITY. He's at work on a book, and I'm not sure if we conveyed that at the end. He's at work on a book about making that Dylan video for Joker Man, and he told me some great stories about Dylan after we wrapped up. Sorry, you don't get to hear them. Maybe I'll do a bonus episode with that stuff sometime. And once we wrapped up the main session, I asked George, so, who are you reading? If you want to hear his answer to that, you'll need to become a supporter of the Virtual Memories Show so you can get access to our quarterly bonus podcast, Fear of a Square Planet. You can get access by supporting the show at patreon.com/VMSpod or paypal.me/VMSpod. I've got all sorts of goals and goodies in place for patrons, including that podcast, patron-only blog, handwritten show notes for every episode, and someday, if we're lucky, a series of ebooks based on some of these conversations. So go to patreon.com/VMSpod and support the art of fine conversation. Now, I recorded this one at George's home in the West Village, so that took about $30 in parking up on 96th Street at my secret lot, $10 at the GW, and $6 for subway fare, plus coffee, of course. If you want to help defray some of the costs of the Virtual Memories Show, like web hosting, travel, equipment, or just to toss me some money because you think the show is worth it, then visit patreon.com/VMSpod or paypal.me/VMSpod. Make a one-time or recurring donation. Special thanks go out to Kevin Katila, John Wendler, Fred Kish, Jonathan Kranz, Stephen Nadler, Wallace Wilde Minozzi, Andrew Mason, Greg Tanner, Garrett Zecker, Craig P. Steffen, Jack Lescamella, and Ron Slate for going over and above in their support of the Virtual Memories Show. We have a full list of show supporters at chimeraobscura.com/VM. Our music for this episode is Nothing's Gonna Bring Me Down by David Bayerwald, used with permission from the artist. And that's it for this week's Virtual Memories Show. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week, but I'm not sure which of my London shows you're going to get. I think it'll be the Martin Rosen one. You better check back to find out. If it is that one, you're going to enjoy the living hell out of it. Till next time, you can subscribe to the Virtual Memories Show and download past episodes at the iTunes Store or at soundcloud.com/VMSpod. You can also find all our episodes and get on our email list at either of our websites, vmspod.com or chimeraobscura.com/VM. You can also follow the Virtual Memories Show on Twitter and Instagram at VMSpod, at facebook.com/virtualmemoriesshow, at virtualmemoriespodcast.tumblr.com, and on YouTube by searching for Virtual Memories. And if you like this show, please go to iTunes, look up the Virtual Memories Show, and leave a rating and review for this podcast. That'll help us build a bigger audience. Till next time, you've been listening to the Virtual Memories Show. I'm your host, Gil Roth, and you are awesome. Keep it that way.